A consumer alert on some popular products. Procter & Gamble is issuing a voluntary recall of more than 30 of its aerosol spray products, including dry shampoo and dry conditioner. The recall is due to concerns over levels of the chemical benzene, which is known to cause cancer.
7 shampoo brands sitting in your shower right now have been named in active lawsuits or federal recalls for 2 very different reasons. Some contain a preservative tied to documented hair loss, flagged internally by one company back in 2012 and still used for nearly a decade after. Others were recalled twice for a cancer-causing chemical found in the can itself. This is not a guess. This is court filings and FDA recall notices. We are naming all 7. Then 5 brands that actually passed the same scrutiny. Stay to the end. Avoid brand 1. OGX. An orange bottle sits in the shower next to the razor and the loofah, chosen specifically because the label promises biotin and collagen, the exact ingredients a hair care aisle search says will fix thinning hair. People trusted OGX because it built its entire identity around botanical-sounding names and a promise of stronger, fuller hair, positioned as the drugstore upgrade from a basic bottle, the kind of purchase that feels like a small investment in your hair rather than just a cleaning product. Here is the reveal. OGX, owned by Johnson & Johnson, faces multiple active class actions alleging DMDM hydantoin, a formaldehyde-releasing preservative, caused documented hair loss, scalp irritation, and allergic reactions in thousands of consumers. Johnson & Johnson acknowledged the risks of this ingredient in 2012 and committed to removing it from personal care products by 2015. The company kept using it in OGX formulas until September 2021, 6 years past its own internal deadline, and existing stock with the ingredient remained on shelves even after that. Looks like a hair-strengthening upgrade. Reads like the exact preservative the parent company flagged internally nearly a decade before finally pulling it. Read the timeline against the marketing. 2012 is when the company acknowledged the risk internally. 2015 is the deadline it set for itself. 2021 is when the ingredient actually left the shampoo aisle. For the person who thought biotin and collagen on the label meant a formula built for hair health, this is what you actually bought, a preservative. The manufacturer's own internal timeline says should have been gone 6 years earlier than it actually was. The carve-out. OGX formulas made after the 2021 reformulation no longer contain DMDM hydantoin, and checking the production date or a recent purchase receipt is the actual way to confirm which version is sitting in your shower right now. 6 years late, same bottle on the shelf the whole time. Up next, a brand where internal company documents allegedly show the quality team flagged the exact same preservative system, and the product stayed on shelves anyway. Avoid brand 2. TRESemmé. A white bottle with gold lettering sits in a salon-quality lineup at the drugstore, positioned as the brand professional stylists supposedly use themselves, priced just high enough to feel like an upgrade from the bottles sitting one shelf below it. People trusted TRESemmé because the brand built its entire reputation on a salon professional angle, the idea that stylists reach for this exact formula backstage at fashion shows, which made the ingredient list feel like something already vetted by people who work with hair for a living. Here is the reveal. A class action consolidated in the Northern District of Illinois alleges Unilever knowingly included DMDM hydantoin in TRESemmé keratin smooth formulas despite internal awareness of formaldehyde release concerns. Discovery in the case reportedly produced internal documents plaintiffs claim show Unilever's own quality assurance team had flagged the preservative system well before the lawsuit was filed. Settlement talks reportedly accelerated in late 2025, with a framework still being discussed as of early 2026. Looks professionally vetted. Reads like a brand aware of the concern internally before its own customers ever found out. Read the allegation directly. Internal quality assurance flags on one side, a public-facing keratin smooth marketing claim on the other. The two were reportedly never reconciled before the product reached a shopping cart. For the person who thought the salon professional label meant extra scrutiny behind the scenes, this is what you actually bought. A formula plaintiffs allege the company's own internal team had concerns about, sold under a name built specifically to suggest the opposite, the carve-out. TRESemmé's current keratin smooth formulas, reformulated after the lawsuit gained traction, no longer list DMDM hydantoin, and checking a current ingredient panel against an older bottle at home is the fastest way to know which version you own. Salon branding on the front, an internal flag on the inside. Up next, a brand facing the same underlying lawsuit, this time specifically naming a decade of continuous use despite a nearly identical warning sign. Avoid brand 3. Suave. A cheap bottle sits in the shower next to 3 other half-empty ones. The backup brand everyone has bought at least once, priced low enough that nobody thinks twice about tossing it in the cart alongside groceries. People trusted Suave because it never asked for much trust in the first place. Low price, wide availability. A brand people bought precisely because it was unpretentious, marketed with straightforward promises to smooth, nourish, and repair hair without any premium salon language attached to the bottle. Here is the reveal. A 2021 class action filed in Illinois alleged Unilever, the manufacturer of Suave, knowingly used DMDM hydantoin in the Suave professional shampoo and conditioner line for more than a decade, despite marketing the products as able to nourish hair and reduce hair fall. The lead plaintiff alleged she experienced scalp itch, redness, and increased hair falling out shortly after her first few uses, with no prior history of either issue. Unilever confirmed it would remove the ingredient from all Suave products by the end of 2021, shortly after the lawsuit was filed. Looks like the harmless, low-stakes bottle in the shower. Reads like a decade-long ingredient decision the company only reversed once it was sued over it. Read the marketing claim against the timeline. Reduce hair fall is the printed promise on the bottle. A formaldehyde-releasing preservative allegedly causing hair fall is the ingredient the lawsuit says was inside it the entire time. For the budget shopper who thought a low price meant low stakes, this is what you actually bought. The identical formaldehyde-releasing preservative named in lawsuits against far more expensive salon brands, sitting in the cheapest bottle in the entire shower. The carve-out. Suave's current formulas, reformulated by the end of 2021, no longer contain DMDM hydantoin, and the brand's own site now lets customers check individual ingredient labels, product by product, to confirm which version they own. Cheapest bottle, same ingredient as the expensive ones. Up next, a brand that was not sued over an ingredient it added on purpose. It was recalled because of what showed up in the can that sprayed it out. Avoid brand 4, Pantene. A can of dry shampoo sits in a gym bag, sprayed on between workouts and washes, chosen because the promise of a quick refresh without a full shower felt like the smartest shortcut in the entire routine. People trusted Pantene because it has been one of the most recognized hair care names in the country for decades, the kind of brand that shows up in nearly every drugstore and grocery store aisle, familiar enough that nobody thought to check what was inside the can before spraying it directly onto their scalp. Here is the reveal. Procter & Gamble recalled more than 30 aerosol dry shampoo and dry conditioner products in December 2021 after detecting benzene, a chemical classified as a known human carcinogen capable of causing leukemia and blood cancer with repeated exposure. Pantene products were named specifically in that recall, including dry shampoo no water refresh and sheer volume. The company stated benzene was never an added ingredient, but came from the propellant used to spray the product out of the can, meaning the contamination sat in the delivery mechanism rather than the formula itself. Looks like a convenient, trusted refresh. Reads like a can, the manufacturer itself confirmed was releasing a known carcinogen every time it was sprayed. Read the recall notice directly. Benzene is not an ingredient in any of our products, is the company's statement. Unexpected levels of benzene came from the propellant, is the same statement, one sentence later. For the gym bag shopper who thought a familiar name meant a safety check already happened, this is what you actually bought. A can the manufacturer itself pulled from shelves after independent testing found a known carcinogen coming out with every single spray. The carve-out. Pantene's liquid shampoo and conditioner lines were never part of the aerosol recall, since the contamination was specific to the spray propellant rather than the liquid formula itself, making the standard bottled version the safer choice within the same brand. Familiar name, contaminated can, confirmed by the company's own statement. Up next, a brand recalled in the exact same wave from the exact same parent company, with the exact same chemical showing up in the exact same kind of can. Avoid brand 5. Herbal Essences. A bottle with a swirl of flowers and green leaves sits on the shower shelf, chosen specifically because the packaging reads like a botanical garden rather than a chemistry set. The exact opposite impression a can of aerosol spray usually gives off. People trusted Herbal Essences because the brand spent decades marketing itself around a total sensory experience: cucumber and green tea, white grapefruit, and mint, scent combinations designed to feel like a spa treatment rather than a basic cleaning product grabbed off a shelf. Here is the reveal. Herbal Essences was named directly in the same Procter & Gamble aerosol recall as Pantene, with specific dry shampoo products including cucumber and green tea and white strawberry and sweet mint pulled after benzene was detected. This was not the company's only aerosol benzene recall. A second, related recall followed within weeks of the first, meaning the same botanical branded product line needed 2 separate rounds of pulled inventory before the contamination was fully addressed. Looks like a botanical spa moment in a can. Reads like a contamination issue serious enough to need 2 separate recall rounds from the same parent company in the same season. Read the recall count directly. 1 recall in the initial round. A second recall weeks later covering additional products the first round missed. 2 attempts from one company to fully clear the same contamination out of its own aerosol lineup. For the shopper who thought a botanical name and a spa-like scent meant a gentler product overall, this is what you actually bought. A can requiring 2 separate recall rounds from the same manufacturer to fully remove a chemical the company itself called a known human carcinogen, the carve-out. Herbal Essences liquid shampoo and conditioner bottles were never part of either recall round, since both were specific to the aerosol spray propellant rather than the poured formula, making the standard bottle the safer pick within the same brand name. 1 recall missed it. A second recall caught what was left. Up next, the dry shampoo market leader, currently facing its own active benzene lawsuit, built entirely around the same aerosol format that already tripped up 2 other brands on this list. Avoid brand 6. Batiste A can sit at the top of a gym bag or a travel kit, the single most recognized name in dry shampoo, reached for specifically because a full wash was not an option and a quick refresh needed to work fast. People trusted Batiste because it built its entire identity around being the original, the brand that made dry shampoo a household category in the first place, positioned as the market leader rather than a follower copying an established format. Here is the reveal. Batiste currently faces an active class action alleging independent lab testing found benzene in its dry shampoo formula, part of a broader wave of similar lawsuits pending against other dry shampoo brands, including Paul Mitchell, Sebastian, and Kristen S. Unlike the Pantene and Herbal Essences situation, which ended in a formal company recall, the Batiste case remains an active, contested lawsuit rather than a resolved recall, meaning the company has not conceded the same contamination the way Procter & Gamble did with its own aerosol lineup. Looks like the trusted original in the category. Reads like the market leader facing the exact same underlying allegation as 2 brands that already issued a formal recall. Read the difference in outcomes so far. Pantene and Herbal Essences resulted in confirmed recalls with production codes published. Batiste remains in active litigation, with the underlying contamination question still being argued in court rather than settled through a recall. For the person who trusted the original, the market leader, the brand that invented the category, this is what you actually bought. The same aerosol format and the same underlying contamination allegation as 2 brands the manufacturer already pulled from shelves, without a matching recall of its own yet. The carve-out. Batiste's non-aerosol dry shampoo powder formats were not named in the current lawsuit, since the allegation is specific to the aerosol spray propellant, making the powder version the format to reach for within the same brand if you want to stay in this specific product category. Same category, same allegation. No recall yet. Up next, a brand built around a horse care heritage story, named in the same wave of formaldehyde-releasing preservative lawsuits as 2 other brands already covered tonight. Avoid brand 7. Mane and Tail. A thick, oversized bottle sits in the shower, bought specifically because of a decades-old rumor that the horse grooming formula makes human hair grow longer and thicker than anything sold in a normal hair care aisle, the kind of purchase people make almost as a dare to themselves. People trusted Mane and Tail because the brand built its entire reputation on that exact origin story. A formula developed for horse manes and tails, repurposed for human hair on the theory that anything strong enough for a horse must be doing something extraordinary for a person standing in a regular shower. That backstory did more marketing work than any actual clinical claim ever could, since it bypassed the usual skepticism people bring to a hair care bottle entirely. Here is the reveal. Mane and Tail has been named alongside Gex and TRESemmé in the broader wave of lawsuits targeting formaldehyde-releasing preservatives in shampoo, specifically DMDM hydantoin, the same ingredient class driving the hair loss allegations against every hair care brand covered earlier in this investigation. The horse care origin story was never a safety claim to begin with. It was a marketing angle, and the ingredient list underneath it followed the same preservative playbook as the drugstore brands sitting one shelf over, animal-grade branding included. Looks like an industrial-strength animal-grade formula built for something tougher than human hair. Reads like the exact same formaldehyde-releasing preservative class named in lawsuits against 3 other brands already covered in this video. Read the origin story directly against the ingredient list on the back of the bottle. Horse Care Heritage is the marketing claim printed across the front. A formaldehyde-releasing preservative is the ingredient class the lawsuits say sat underneath that heritage story the entire time it was selling. For the person who thought an animal-grade formula meant a stronger, more effective product than anything made for humans, this is what you actually bought. The identical preservative class named in hair loss lawsuits against OJEX, TRESemmé, and Suave, wearing a horse grooming origin story instead of a salon professional one. The carve-out. Mane and Tail's current formulas, reformulated in response to the broader DMDM Heidentoin lawsuit wave, no longer list the ingredient, and checking a current bottle's ingredient panel against an older one at home is the fastest way to confirm which version is actually sitting in your shower right now. Horse Care Story. Same preservative as the Drugstore brand sitting right next to it. That closes out all 7. 3 separate parent companies, 2 separate failure modes, 1 preservative class, and 1 contamination issue running through nearly every single bottle in this entire investigation. Okay, stop for a second. You just sat through 7 brands, 3 different parent companies, and 2 completely different failure modes. Johnson & Johnson flagged a preservative internally in 2012 and kept using it until 2021. Unilever's own quality team allegedly raised concerns about the same preservative class years before a lawsuit forced a reformulation. Procter & Gamble needed 2 separate recall rounds to fully clear benzene out of 1 product line. A founder builds a brand on a specific promise. A conglomerate acquires it. The marketing claim stays exactly where it was. The formulation budget and the internal safety review quietly fall behind it. That is not 7 separate stories. That is 1 story told 7 times across 3 different corporate owners who all made the same call. Worth it. Pick 1. Vanicream. Where others print a fragrance and a botanical story on the front while a formaldehyde-releasing preservative sits on the back, Vanicream sells a formula with nothing to distract from in the first place, built by dermatologists rather than a marketing team chasing a scent profile. The brand was developed by a compounding pharmacist specifically for patients with severe skin sensitivities, built originally for dermatology offices rather than a drugstore shelf, which is why the formula reads more like a medical product than a cosmetic one. Here is the proof. Vanicream is dermatologist tested and recommended, and its ingredient deck is independently confirmed free of fragrance, sulfates, parabens, and formaldehyde-releasing preservatives. The exact ingredient class driving 4 of the 7 lawsuits covered in this investigation. Read the ingredient list directly. No fragrance, no dye, no sulfates, no DMDM Heidentoin, anywhere in the formula, built around gentle cleansing agents instead of the preservative system that got 4 other brands sued. The honest limitation. Vanicream is built for sensitive and reactive scalps first, which means it skips the volumizing and fragrance additions that make other shampoos feel more indulgent in the shower. If you want a spa-like scent experience, this is not that bottle. Price and availability. Around $10 to $14, sold at most major drugstores and through the brand's own website. For anyone who sat through the OG century and felt betrayed by a bottle that promised stronger hair while quietly carrying a flagged preservative, this is what a formula built by dermatologists first looks like instead. Up next, a plant-based brand doctors and salon professionals actually approve, built specifically around what it leaves out rather than what it adds in. Worth it. Pick 2. Puracy. Where others add a formaldehyde-releasing preservative to extend shelf life, Puracy sells a plant-based formula built around what it deliberately leaves out of the bottle entirely. The brand was founded by a group of doctors and biochemists specifically frustrated by how few personal care products disclosed a complete, readable ingredient list, building the company around full transparency as the actual product feature. Here is the proof. Puracy is doctor and salon expert approved, and the formula is independently confirmed free of sulfates, parabens, and phthalates, the same ingredient categories flagged across multiple brands earlier in this investigation. The formula relies on plant-based surfactants rather than sodium lauryl sulfate, the same harsh foaming agent found in several of the failing brands covered tonight, while still delivering a genuine lather and clean rinse. The honest limitation. Puracy has faced repeated stock shortages according to customer reviews, with some shoppers reporting months-long waits for a restock, so availability can be inconsistent even though the formula itself holds up. Price and availability. Around $15 to $20, sold through the brand's own website and at select retailers when in stock. Up next, a brand carrying one of the few independent certifications that requires a full ingredient disclosure rather than a self-issued clean label. Worth it. Pick 3. Attitude. Where others self-certify their own clean claims, Attitude sells a formula independently verified by a third-party organization rather than its own marketing department. The brand was founded in Canada around a specific mission to make ingredient transparency the default rather than a premium feature, building its reputation before clean beauty became a mainstream marketing trend. Here is the proof. Attitude is EWG verified, one of the few certifications requiring full ingredient disclosure and independent review rather than accepting a brand's own self-reported claim. The exact kind of third-party check that would have caught the DMDM Heidentoin, sitting in 4 other brands on this list. The formula skips sulfates, parabens, and synthetic fragrance, built instead around ingredients like watercress and olive leaf extract, verified against the same EWG database independent reviewers used to check every brand in this investigation. The honest limitation. Attitude's scent profile is noticeably lighter than a heavily fragranced drugstore brand, which some users find underwhelming if they specifically want a strong, lasting fragrance from their shampoo. Price and availability. Around $12 to $15, sold at major retailers including Target and through the brand's own website. Up next, a premium botanical brand specifically recommended for color-treated hair, the exact hair type sulfates damage fastest. Worth it? Pick 4. Innersense. Where others add sulfates that strip color faster with every wash, Innersense sells a botanical formula specifically built to protect color-treated hair rather than accelerate its fade. The brand was founded by 2 hairstylists frustrated by how quickly conventional shampoo faded client color between salon visits, building the formula specifically around what colorists actually needed rather than what a drugstore marketing team assumed customers wanted. Here is the proof. Innersense is organic certified and repeatedly named across independent clean beauty guides as one of the strongest options specifically for color-treated hair, verification that comes from stylists and reviewers rather than the brand's own claims alone. The formula skips sulfates entirely, the same ingredient class known to accelerate color fading, while still delivering a real lather using botanical surfactants instead. The honest limitation. Innersense costs more than nearly every other brand in this investigation, and the botanical ingredient list can leave a slight residue on very fine hair if overused. So, application amount matters more than with a standard sulfate formula. Price and availability. Around $28 to $34, sold at salons and through the brand's own website. Up next, a brand priced closer to the failing brands in this investigation, proving a clean formula does not require a premium price tag. Worth it. Pick 5. Acure. Where others charge a premium for a clean label, Acure sells a phthalate-free, sulfate-free formula priced to sit on the same shelf as the failing brands in this investigation, not above it. The brand built its identity around accessibility from the start, positioning itself specifically inside mainstream drugstores and grocery stores rather than requiring an online order or a specialty retailer visit. Here is the proof. Acure is independently confirmed phthalate-free and sulfate-free across its shampoo line, verified against the same ingredient databases used to check every brand in this investigation, without requiring a premium price to get there. The formula relies on plant-based cleansing agents rather than sodium lauryl sulfate, matching the same standard as far more expensive brands on this list at a fraction of the price. The honest limitation. Acure's formulas are less specialized than Innersense for color-treated hair specifically. So if color preservation is the primary goal, a more targeted formula may outperform it. Price and availability. Around $9 to $12, widely available at Target, Walmart, and most major drugstores. You just sat through 12 brands, 7 built on the exact same 2 failure modes. A formaldehyde-releasing preservative kept in use for years past an internal warning, and a benzene contamination issue that took 2 separate recalls to fully catch. Ojex, TRESemmé, Suave, and Entail, all named in the same preservative lawsuit wave. Pantene and Herbal Essences both recalled from the same parent company in the same season. Batiste still fighting the same allegation in active court. It is not a mistake. It is the model. Here is what you do tomorrow morning. Walk into your shower, pick up whatever bottle you have used the longest, and check the ingredient list for DMDM Heidentoin. Tell me which of these 7 brands has been sitting in your shower the longest without you ever checking the label. If someone you know is still using an aerosol dry shampoo from this list, send them this video before their next can. The system is not broken. It is working exactly the way it was built to work. You were never supposed to check what was inside the can. Stay sharp, read those labels, keep rising.